This Notebook LM video explores the surprising connection between Greek mythology, Spartan history, and the biblical promise to Abraham. The myth of Castor and Pollux, the inseparable twin brothers placed in the sky as the constellation Gemini, is re-examined alongside historical claims that Spartans were kin to Abraham's descendants.
What if I told you that one of the most famous Greek myths, the one about two twin heroes who were turned into a constellation, is actually hiding a secret connection to one of the biggest promises in the Bible? Stick with me because we're about to connect the dots between Spartan warriors, brotherly love, and a divine promise that was, quite literally, written in the stars.
Okay, so you hear Greek myth, biblical promise, and Spartan warriors, and you're probably thinking, what in the world do these have to do with each other? Well, it turns out there's this incredible, kind of overlooked historical link that ties them all together, connecting the destiny of Spartan heroes right to the heavens above.
All right, so to really get this, we gotta start with the myth itself. It's a really classic story of brotherly love, ultimate sacrifice, and it stars two of the most famous twins in, well, all of history, Castor and Pollux. So get this, even though they were twins, born to the same mother, Queen Leda of Sparta, they were total opposites. Castor was the son of a mortal king, and he was an amazing horseman. But his brother, Pollux, was the immortal son of Zeus himself, and an unbeatable boxer. And this whole duality thing, one mortal, one divine, that's not just a small detail. It's the absolute key to their entire story. It's what defined their destiny. But even with those huge differences, these two were inseparable. They were known as the Dioscuri, which, by the way, literally means sons of Zeus. And man, they were the superheroes of their time. I mean, if there was a big adventure going down, you can bet they were right in the middle of it, from sailing with the Argonauts to rescuing their own sister, Helen of Troy. But, like in all great stories, their incredible bond was about to face the ultimate test. It all went down during this nasty feud with their cousins. Things got heated, a fight broke out, and in the middle of all that chaos, Castor, the mortal brother, was struck down. He literally died in his immortal brother's arms. Can you imagine? Pollux was just completely shattered. He couldn't stand the thought of living forever without his brother. So he goes to his dad, the top god Zeus, and makes this unbelievable plea. He begs to give up his own immortality, just so he wouldn't be separated from Castor. So Zeus, moved by his son's love, comes up with this really creative compromise. He says the brothers can stay together, but they'd have to share one life, spending half their time up on Mount Olympus with the gods and the other half down in the underworld. And as a final tribute, to make sure their bond was never forgotten, Zeus placed them in the night sky as the constellation we all know today as Gemini, the twins. So yeah, their story is up in the stars for everyone to see. But the roots? They were planted firmly on the ground in one of the most famous and feared cities of the ancient world. And this is where things get really interesting because the story shifts from just a myth to something, well, something documented in history. See, that's the thing. To the ancient world, Castor and Pollux weren't just some fairy tale characters. They were real, and they were deeply, deeply connected to one of the most hardcore city-states ever.
That's right. Castor and Pollux were Spartan princes. They were the hometown heroes of that legendary warrior culture. And eventually they went from being just local heroes to becoming the most important, the most worshipped gods of Sparta.
And believe me, their fame didn't just stay in Sparta. They became these go-to protectors for sailors out on the rough seas, for athletes, and get this, people even claimed they showed up on the battlefield to help the Roman army win. Their worship just exploded across Greece and Rome.
Okay, so this is where the story takes a really sharp, unexpected turn. It's the part that connects these Spartan gods to a group of people and a tradition that you would absolutely never guess.
So, picture this. It's around 250 BCE. The king of Sparta sends a letter over to the Jewish high priest in Jerusalem. He's looking to build an alliance, but the reason he gives? It's a total shocker.
And this isn't just a legend. It's actually recorded in the book of 1 Maccabees. The claim was that the Spartans and the Jews are brothers, that they come from the same family, the family of Abraham.
So you're probably thinking, wait, what? How is that even possible? Well, the tradition goes like this. After his wife Sarah died, Abraham married a woman named Keturah. And Keturah, it said, was a descendant of Japheth, who was basically seen as the granddaddy of all the Greek peoples. So through that marriage, you get this direct family line, a bond of kinship connecting two cultures that seem like they're from different planets.
Okay, let's pause and put the pieces together.
On one hand, you've got Sparta's main gods, Castor and Pollux. On the other hand, you have the Spartans saying, hey, we're related to Abraham. So, what happens when you smash those two ideas together?
This timeline really shows you the epic sweep of this whole story. It kicks off way back, almost 2 millennia before Christ, with God's promise to Abraham. Then, centuries later, you get this bombshell letter from the Spartan king. And then, fast forward again, and you have the Apostle Paul literally sailing to Rome on a ship named Castor and Pollux. Crazy, right?
When you look at it this way, it completely reframes the whole myth. Because if the Spartans are family of Abraham, then their most important gods, these twin brothers, are also part of that same family tree. Suddenly, they're not just Greek heroes anymore. They're part of this much bigger, sacred story.
And this, right here, is the big payoff. The myth tells us Zeus put the twins in the sky. But through this historical lens, what you're really looking at is a story about two of Abraham's descendants being physically placed among the stars.
And that just brings us right back around full circle to the original promise God made to Abraham in Genesis. Remember? That his descendants would be as many as the stars in the heaven. And right here, in the myth of Castor and Pollux, it's like we're seeing that promise come true in the most literal way imaginable.
I mean, it's just a mind-blown connection, right? It builds a bridge between two ancient worlds we thought were completely separate. And it really makes you wonder, what other secret stories, what other ancient promises are hiding up there in the night sky, just waiting for us to connect the dots?